Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. And this video is to bring you a closer look at the Deltana HPH89 in US3. This is a hinge pin doorstop is what this is. The metal portion, or the finished portion, is made of solid brass. This is an item that's going to feature a gray tip that is going to install over the head of the bolt, and that will clip on there, so to speak. Once you get that set, well, you don't need to have that. You can set it from the back end. That will float a little bit. I would say that you would want it to float a little bit. Okay. We'll also have a bushing. We'll talk about that in a moment. So what happens is, when this is installed onto the hinge pin, you will have, okay, the door that will make contact with the face of this flattened portion. And as the door opens, I'm just going to hold it in this orientation. Door is, let's say the door is fully closed. So when let's just say the door is in the closed position, and I'm going to hold it this way. The door is my finger, and when the door is pushed open, it will rotate the hinge pin until the bumper makes contact with the face of the frame, the casing, whatever it might be. So that's how these work. They will just simply get pushed open until the other side makes contact. Okay? Suppose you could install it the other way as well. I would want the maximum surface area on the face of the door, so as to spread out the force of what's happening, and that's how I would end up doing that, and having the rubber bumper make contact with the frame, and you can see that the projection of the unit, of how far you thread that, will limit the degree of opening. And I estimate probably a minimum of 70 degree or 75 degree, up to probably 130 degree would be my guess, if I'm just going to eyeball that. Well, you'd get more than that. The factory doesn't tell us what that range is. It looks like it's going to be maybe 110 degree, out to a much greater amount, getting it threaded to its maximum, basically. Oh yeah, you're going to be well beyond 90 degree, and way past 145 degree. However, when I bring this to its minimum, let's be mindful that you'd be at 90 degree. Yeah, I would say that you're probably going to be about 80 degree, just gauging that, and you're going to be making contact with the tip, with the outside corner of that tip. Okay, a nice common piece of equipment a hinge pin doorstop is, you'll see them installed in residential applications all the time when you don't have a baseboard onto which to mount a traditional solid or spring style stop. They're not great pieces of hardware in the sense that in abusive use, you can cause some damage. I have seen hinge pin doorstops rupture the face of the door because it's been pushed too far. I've seen the other portion that makes contact with the frame, because it's basically a lever, peel the casing back and away when the door is forcibly pushed open. So they're really intended for very adult, careful use, so to speak. They're used when there's no other option, in my opinion. Although some people say, yeah, just I put hinge pin doorstops on, that's what I use. Okay, a baseboard stop would certainly be safer, but it's nice to not have a baseboard stop in the sense that there's nothing sticking off your baseboard into the opening, running a vacuum cleaner, whatever the case might be. The proper piece of hardware would be an overhead stop, a slide track system, but that's unrealistic in lots of applications, especially standard residential. High-end residential will see that sort of equipment, but otherwise it's inexpensive hinge pin stops. So the ID of this, my caliper tells me 0.369. 0.369. So you'd be able to fit a pretty big hinge pin down through there. And the reason that you can is because this will work with their brass hinges specifically, and they make extended length threaded button tips for that. The brass hinges, 3.5, 3.5, 4x4, 4.5, 4.5, probably 5x5, not 6x6, not steel, not stainless steel hinges. They have threaded tips on there, whether it be an urn tip, a ball tip, or just a button tip. They're threaded on. That's a hallmark of solid brass hinges. It's just if you're going to use a hinge pin doorstop, you don't have a long hinge pin that you can drive out, stick through the hole of the hinge pin doorstop, and then life is good. This hole is going to be larger for brass hinges so as to accommodate the extended tip pin. They also have a bushing here that you can insert, and that's going to bring that size down to 0.318. 0.318 would be that size, okay, on the inside. So that's still not going to work really well for a residential hinge, even though it will work. It's just going to hang a little bit because the pin is going to be thinner than 5/16 basically. Available in all of the sizes that you can obviously do hardware from Deltana in. Your brasses, your bronze, your chromes, your nickels, satin polished, oil rubbed, maybe black. Yeah, black as well. Black is a pretty popular color and has been for a while. Very nice quality people over at Deltana. Good quality imported builder's hardware. They have generally a tremendous amount of inventory on hand. And of course, that's a result of bringing it in from overseas. So they're bringing in substantial amounts. So their inventory is either incredibly positive, meaning available, or super long lead time, because, you know, what I find is someone just ordered all 3,000 they had in stock, which is unusual, but it does happen. So the point is that the inventory is generally very good and available with Deltana. The people there are eager to help. They're happy to help. They are accurate, spot on. They're actually hardware people. They have a pretty good, firm understanding of hardware. They're not just a company who imports from overseas. A lot of people do just that. Deltana takes it a step above with good, prompt, reliable, predictable shipping lead times and product knowledge. And that's appreciated from someone who is a hardware person, calling an importer of hardware who, you know, many of them have no idea about how the hardware is applied. Not so with Deltana, and they understand the product as it relates to their product line. I did call them to confirm the size of the hinges that the extended pin is available on. The gentleman who answered knew the answer immediately, as if he's the person who engineered it, and he could have been. Below this video is a link to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Deltana products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the part number, HPH89 hinge pin stop in a US3 polished brass finish, or any other Deltana product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.